first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. That is a live look there from our Chinook Winds camera at Lincoln City. The camera is stuttering just a little bit. That's not how the ocean normally comes in. But still, we are showing that it is pretty foggy out there. And the reason I have that on there is because we're going to be talking about that section of the coast, because that is where the Cascade Head Biosphere is, or at least part of it. And again, this is Fox 12 Now. We're live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. We're here every weekday. Starting at 1 o'clock, we go throughout the afternoon and we cover a wide range of topics, including breaking news when that happens. And sometimes we do deeper dives into topics like this. So around Lincoln City, and that includes the city and surrounding areas, it is a UNESCO Biosphere designated site, the only one in the state of Oregon. And that matters because it's home to so many different diverse landscapes, wildlife, all kinds of things, and lots of ways for people to engage in that as well, both for tourist activities or also just to help them out and catalogs of different things that are going on there. So we wanted to find out more about this. It's coming up on its 50th anniversary next year. So we spoke to Duncan Berry, who is co-director for the Cascade Biosphere, and to find out more about that. So let's go ahead and roll our interview right now. Duncan, thank you very much for being here with us today to talk about this, the Cascade Head Biosphere. And I want to get into what that is. Before we do that, would you mind just telling us a little bit about yourself and maybe, how you came to work here for the organization?
You bet. So I've been a lifelong coastal dweller here in Oregon, and I've run a series of businesses over the years, all values-based businesses. The most recent one was the world's first B Corp seafood company. I came back to the coast to start an NGO by the name of the Western Stewardship Group, and ended up realizing that the UNESCO platform for the biosphere was one of the most exciting platforms out there globally. And so I joined as, we helped stand up the UNESCO biosphere here at Cascade Head 4 or 5 years ago, and I've been serving as co-director ever since.
Can you tell us, what is the Cascade Head Biosphere, to get some basic definitions of even maybe what a biosphere would be?
Absolutely. So we live in the biosphere. It's 12 miles thick and it surrounds our entire planet. That's the big biosphere, right? That's where life can live. The smaller sense of a biosphere is about what we call the biosphere region. And we're part of 750 plus UNESCO biosphere regions throughout the world. There's only 28 in the United States. We have less than almost any other country, certainly our size, than anywhere else in the world. But they are a non-mandatory, so this is not a federal or a global move to try to control something through a mandate. It is for a community to say, you know what, this is really an interesting program. We want to be connected to the rest of the world. And what's really interesting about it, Greg, is that it is not a park. This is not a conservation move. This has to have a city within it. So it's a biologically sensitive area all around the world. This is a description, not just for our own. A biologically sensitive area that has a city within it, so that we can imagine and experiment a different way for humans to interrelate with biologically really beautiful and sensitive areas.
And for us, for this definition, this would be, I suppose, Lincoln City and the surrounding area.
Right. So I'll take you from global to local, right? So 100,000 acres, that is the Cascade Head Biosphere region. It was established in 1976 and it was much smaller at the time. In 2017, we enlarged it to be the whole Salmon River watershed itself. And then it goes out 3 miles out to sea and 6 miles south to conform to the Marine Reserve and the Marine Protected Area that we put in place in 2017 as well.
And so when you have something designated as a biosphere like that, what does that mean? What is it that you're doing with that designation in the area?
Right. Yeah, great question. So unlike a park, which is mandated by law, this is, hey, you guys have a very special place there. It's world class. You have a city within it, yes, Lincoln City and the burg of Otis as well, I would say. You have something very special. Here's a platform for you to be able, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are things like clean water, livelihoods that are fulfilling and pay well, and living wages, these are very sensible, very easy to understand a framework for making it a better place to live, work, and play. And so we are not, again, it doesn't come with any money from UNESCO. There are no laws in regulation for it. It is more, hey, if you want to join 700 other entities, that it's almost like a franchise. How do you do your French fries? How do you support the people in your community in Costa Rica or in Asia? So we have a real advantage there. And then we have a framework that we use right now to offer programs to a wide range of the people that come visit here, but also that live here.
So this seems to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, a way to kind of think about how to incorporate and integrate both these, more urban type of settings into that diverse natural environment that's surrounding that community.
Well, Greg, I think we're all familiar with the fact that just in my lifetime alone, we've seen a massive change in our relationship with the planet. And so this is looking to experiment with different ways that we might have a deeper relationship with the living planet, and that all beings can flourish is one of the things we talk a lot about, not just the human being.
And when we look at this designation, I mean, it sounds like I believe next year is going to be 50 years since 1976, or at least the UNESCO designation for this. So when you're talking about this many decades of having this area being designated that, and some of the thought that goes into that, what are some of the things that maybe people would notice or not notice based upon this biosphere designation?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we work on every day, and even this interview is part of it, is raising the awareness that we have a UNESCO biosphere in Oregon, right? So from 1976 to 4 years ago, Greg, honestly, people would go, hey, we're a UNESCO biosphere. And everybody go, wow, that's really cool. What does that mean? And everybody go, I'm not sure. So what we've done is we've done 4 years of really heavy lifting to say, well, this is exactly what it means, and you can participate. Everybody here is welcome. Like we're a Switzerland, right? There's no political affiliations and bias here, and we help unite a lot of conversations between universities and federal agencies and NGOs, because they look at us as a global entity set within a very local context, which is I think right now in our political discourse is a really important function. International connections, local outlook, and participation.
And when you talk about the international side of things in UNESCO, could you give us just the definition of that as far as what UNESCO is and how that particular region, the Cascade Head Biosphere, works with some of these other international organizations as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So UNESCO has two programs that most people are familiar with. One of them is the heritage sites. So think Angkor Wat, right? The other is these living biospheres that they have. And what they've done is, their whole reason for being is science, research, and culture. Oops.
Oh, no, that's okay. That was me.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Edit. UNESCO's whole reason for being is, really research that leads to science, but also the cultural component. And so what they're trying to do is find patterns throughout the world by uniting us, where we can share information, technologies, culture, art, and there's quite a lively exchange between us and other island and coastal biospheres, for instance. We do that right here with Aerosmith up in Canada on Vancouver Island. So they're our northern neighbors. And then we have the Golden Gate and the Channel Islands down in California. So we have a lot of neighbors, but we also, I was talking to Ireland the other day about their environmental education program. So there's that piece. Then the second part of your question was?
I think that kind of answers it, just how this biosphere designation, or I guess with the biosphere designation, how you work with other international organizations and bringing that side into it. And sounds like it's a lot of communicating with some of the other designated sites.
It does, and I would also say that in reverse, we look very deeply into the local community. Where when we started this, Greg, we took about an 18-month period and did a listening tour, and we asked leadership, whether it was tribal, governmental, NGO, backcountry, ATV riders. We asked them what some very simple questions like, what is missing from our community? What makes it special? What are you doing within the community? What assets, or resources could you use to make your lives better, or those people that are in your organization better? And we took that, and really that was the beginning of our 4-year, 5-year strategic plan to serve the community. And so we now have a collaborative. We call ourselves a collaborative. The place is a biosphere region, but the collaborative has the same name, except that it's about the people here. And it involves Oregon State University, the aquarium, ODF&W, the U.S. Forest Service. These are entities that we're involved with on a daily basis in the 3 pillars of our activities that we have here, which is climate study, research and solutions, K through 8 education, getting kids outside as much as possible, which is rare these days. And then we did about 38 public events this year for visitors and also people that live here, with the overarching goal of connecting people to a deeper relationship with the living planet.
For people who are visiting the Oregon coast and want to find out more about this, or you mentioned that there's some different ways that they can interact, what are some ways that people can interact with the Cascade Head Biosphere or some of the different programs that you have?
Oh man, yeah, there's a long list. One of the ways is that those 38 programs we were talking about, events and workshops. So those are on our website at cascadehead.org. And there's literally, especially in the warmer weather for obvious reasons, we have a lot of estuary tours that we take people out on boats. We have a really interesting Art on the Beach program, which has a contest attached to it, but is taking 100-yard long graphics that we hand draw on the sand. And they're important elements like immigration. We had one about wonder. So that's a way that people can come down and plug right in to the community. We have what we call gyotaku workshops, which are fish printing. We do direct prints from creatures of the sea in the marine reserve. And then again, if you're a child, we have worked with thousands of 3 different local school districts and private schools to get kids plugged into things like the salmon here, the weather cycle, the watersheds, that sort of thing. So there's something for every age, and they're all non-extractive, which is really wonderful. They don't take anything from here except for just knowledge and memories.
For a lot of the studies that you do and some of that interorganizational cooperation you were talking about between all these different organizations, has that ever led to any kind of policy or legislative change or an action that people would recognize?
That's really a great question. Again, keep in mind we're a toddler, right? We're 4 years old. I think that we have deeply impacted and influenced programming, like at Oregon State University, certainly at the aquarium. We've also, with our forecast project, I think, through the work we've been doing with the Forest Service, have really impacted their climate policy and programming. I think we will do a lot more in the future. These things take time, like we're building research, sort of a baseline foundational research set of data for things like climate takes a little while. But we hope to have a 7th and 8th grade program of kids that will be going to Salem with what they've observed through working with world-class scientists to talk about the future of the climate here in the Pacific Northwest through things they've actually seen themselves, not just read about.
So this area, having it designated as this in this kind of study, I mean, this can really be impactful for a lot of regions just beyond that then, as far as the studies that you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, a good example, our K through 8 education that we've developed. I mean, we've developed it literally from scratch, and it's tied to NGSS standards and what the school district does. But it's now currently being used by 36 other states. All the videos that we have on our website, the educational videos and the classroom materials, are all being used in 36 other states, thanks to our partnership with NOAA.
Wow, so educating people based on what's happening right here in the Pacific Northwest in this Cascade Head Biosphere.
And what might be happening in their watershed, right? We all live in a watershed. And
Yeah.
so coming to understand the universals through the specifics is a really valuable tool that we found here at the biosphere.
Well, anything else that you think is important just for the general public to know?
This is one of the most extraordinary places on the West Coast, if not in the world. I don't know if you've ever been here, Greg, but
Oh, yeah.
you can walk on the 1,200-foot high Cascade Head in open meadows that go 3 miles out to sea. We've got a 2-mile long span spit, sea caves, virgin forest, bear, elk. There was a cougar just down from our house this morning. So it is still the Wild West here, and in a really beautiful way. And we are a minority in a majority of wildness as humans, which is really how I like it. The second one you asked about was also, what is the most important thing for the public to know about the biosphere? You have one. You know, this is the only one in Oregon. It's one of only 28 in the United States. An international body has said, you have an extremely important and special place here. So it's just the awareness of it. And again, cascadehead.org, you can see lots of ways that you can plug in. You can volunteer with us. We're driven by volunteers, but you can also come and just enjoy some of the events that we hold each year. There's 38 of them, so there's plenty of ways to plug in and enjoy this place.
That's great. Yeah, to get involved with that, learn more about it, and it is a very beautiful area. So yeah, sounds like, I mean, not just unique to here, but unique internationally too. So that's a really cool designation to have on there. Anything else that you think is important?
You did mention something about the Native American organizations, and one thing I would say is we move at the speed of trust, and so we have evolved a really wonderful relationship with the Siletz tribe, and we do life waste collection here a couple times a year. So there's a real interest by both private landowners and ourselves as an organization to make the tribes feel welcome in this valley again.
Well, all initiatives that it sounds like everybody can figure out and learn more too just from that website. Is that right, Duncan?
Yeah, it's a great focus, and there's lots of imagery, a lot of right brain fun stuff to look at there. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us to talk to us more about this. You know, something that's really unique right here in our backyard or right here at the coast, and just really cool to learn about that. Thanks so much for being here on Fox 12 Now.
Well, thank you for inviting us, Greg. We're passionate about what we do here, so we're happy to share it.
All right. So big thank you to Duncan for joining us just to talk about that and to learn a little bit more about that area there over on the Oregon coast. As I mentioned, I believe I have the shot right there, Lincoln City. And theirs was a little bit more scenic. It's a little foggy over there right now, but still a pretty amazing area if you've never been over there. All right, we are going to wrap up Fox 12 Now for today. Our 4 p.m. news is coming up here shortly in about 10 minutes. So if you're watching me on our apps or our website, you will see that happen. And we will get you any kind of breaking news or up-to-date information on stories that we're covering right then. If you're watching on YouTube, you see this video end. I recommend downloading those Fox 12 Oregon apps. That is a great way to follow up on everything that we do and watch it live or after the fact. Those are available on all kinds of platforms, including Fire TV, Roku TV, and Apple TV. So just a recommendation for you on those. But that's it for right now. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.